In this video, I want to share with you that which I think is the final piece of the puzzle. When I've looked at different models, different therapeutic styles, different wisdom traditions, a lot of them focus in actually one of these three key areas. You know, they either look at the kind of releasing repressed content, looking at trauma, looking at the past, trying to do the therapeutic thing of fixing that. But they then don't do the empowerment piece. Or there's the kind of coaching, law of attraction, secret thing where they're just like programming, just positive belief alone will change everything. And that really has its limitations. Or maybe they work hand in hand, but there's a third piece around purpose. There's a third piece about the meaning of life. Whilst your clients might not know it, but their spiritual relationship to life is a fundamental part. Their existential meaning, like why are they here? What is the purpose of life in general? What is the purpose of them? And for me, these two techniques are so important, and these are often used in really advanced spiritual communities, but they're not doing the therapeutic work or they're not doing the empowerment work. It's the combination of these 6 techniques together that gives you a full toolkit to be able to do really profound work. And these 2 techniques are about transcendence and surrender, and they might seem really lofty or out there, but these turn up in very real cases around conditions like anxiety, insomnia, a sense of pointlessness, depression. This is what's underpinning so many of these conditions that we're working with day in, day out. And so I don't need to use these 2 techniques with everybody, but for me they're so important. In a spiritual sense, the movement of freedom is going from being overly identified with a small, limited, fearful personality and moving towards identifying with our larger, loving, unlimited, faithful universality. It's about transcending our human small self, our personality. It's the transpersonal realm and connecting to a wider context of meaning. For me, it's all about oneness. And whilst a lot of our clients might not be thinking about life in those terms, they're on that same journey, they're on that same path, whether they know it or not. So helping them see that and giving them these 2 tools that really make it easier, it's a kind thing to do, it's a valuable thing to do. So the first tool I want to share, and you have a script, it's the Transcendence script in the pack we've sent you. This technique is so beautiful. It's a really lovely journey script. I've developed it over many years, used it with lots and lots of different people, and it essentially takes people on a journey into a trust test with the universe. You know, on some kind of management away days, they do this trust test where you fall backwards and you're caught in the arms of your colleagues, and it's meant to increase rapport. Well, this is like a much bigger cosmic version of that with the universe, where you get your clients to visualize being in a beautiful meadow, and it takes them into this kind of cave in the foot of a mountain, and it takes them down this path into this center of the mountain where it's kind of hollowed out, and it takes them out into this long ledge. On either side of the ledge is this empty abyss. I know this sounds kind of dark, but it starts dark only to bring them out into the most glorious light. It's about truly letting go of one's personal needs and dissolving into connection to the all. See, to the ego, life is painful and short and brutish, and it sees the void as the great dark nothingness. This is the seat of nihilism, which is the driving force in unbridled hedonism and unbridled materialism, none of which leads to any satisfaction. And yet, if we can allow our clients to drop off and to go from realizing that the void is some empty nothingness to realizing it's actually a connected field of everythingness, then suddenly most of what they're concerned about is put into a context of perspective which changes everything. And that might sound complicated or too deep to be relevant to most of your clients, but the script isn't. So I recommend you You practice with that, but understand the principle underneath it. On that script, it takes people into a depersonalized state where it asks them, in this moment, without identity, without memory, without sensation, without perception, in this moment, are you happy, unhappy, or neither? In the exact and pure present moment, there is no judgment, there is no labeling, there is no spirit there is no duality, as they describe it in spiritual circles. And transcending that duality brings us to a state of oneness where we're at peace with all things as they are, including ourselves. And we can see the interconnected purpose of life. And within that, we see our purpose. It's not about the great philanthropic acts and deeds that we do. It's about being free to be who we really are. That's how we fulfill our purpose. And when we can see our clients, they get to be amazing, not in spite of their past, but precisely because of their past. They are the perfect shape to be everything they need to be, and that they can fulfill their purpose by loving who they are and trusting that everything is perfect and life is essentially eternal. That has a positive impact. And I know it might sound strange, but it's really, really beautiful. But it does take people to the edge of their mortality. It gets them to look at their death, which is why you need the second technique, which is surrender. All of our suffering comes from our attachment to things, either our want for certain things to happen or our want for certain things not to happen. And it's those attachments that create negotiables or non-negotiables or frictions or tensions, and they get in the way of life flowing, get in the way of us flowing. And so the surrender process is a really beautiful script that enables you to take your clients on a journey to let go, to relax, to trust, to surrender. And it's so important for people who are into control and who are tense. But the ultimate form of that, the ultimate training for that, is really about getting people to give their death permission. I know that sounds morbid. In our culture, we don't talk about death. We don't see death. We don't see abattoirs. We don't even, the meat that people eat, they don't call it pig, they call it pork. It's like, are you having a slab of cow? No, I'm eating steak. There's ways which we avoid the truth of death. Even all of these bands that are reforming, that were popular 20 years ago, that's like this whole social agreement for us not to age. Everyone's just trying to relive their youth. These are important things in today's world that we talk about, and that we accept that life has death in it on the personal level. But with transcendence, we realize that as the singular field, as the oneness field, as the true nature of our electrical subatomic reality, we live forever. And the only thing that dies is fear. And whilst most therapeutic models don't go anywhere near this stuff, by incorporating that, using these simple techniques, actually so many conditions are improved. People feel more confident, they feel more relaxed. But you, as a therapist, being able to take people on these journeys, it's the most beautiful work. I cannot tell you the satisfaction of taking people into that bliss of oneness, that bliss of interconnection, creating spiritual epiphanies. 20 years ago, I had a massive, life-changing spiritual epiphany where I felt totally connected to the oneness. All fear evaporated from me, and I was flooded from within with natural happiness, an incredible amount of love. It wasn't added to me. It was naturally in there. It had been held back by this fear and this belief in separation. These two techniques are about transcending the sense of separation and surrendering to the great flow of life and connecting to that eternal state. And as a therapist or as a facilitator, giving people those experiences, helping them see that for themselves, is the most satisfying thing you can do. So I'm really excited for you to use those scripts. I really hope you've enjoyed these videos about the 6 techniques and how to take people into the transcendent meditative state. It's been a total game changer for me. But the next video, I want to share something with you which brings it all together. And I'm really excited to share that with you. So please watch the next video, because that will hopefully make sense of everything that I've shared.